nation.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
All right, I've got 6 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call this next meeting to order, if you wouldn't mind. We have Mr. Gary Colbert here with us tonight. He is a member of the community. He's volunteering his time and services as chaplain services with the fire department, the police departments. So I kind of wanted to introduce him to everyone tonight and then ask him to lead us in the invocation.
Okay. So, can we pray? Gracious God, Heavenly Father, Lord, you are our creator, our sustainer, our friend, and our judge. Lord, we just ask your blessing on this meeting tonight. Heavenly Father, we just ask that you would be with those who are part of this council and part of this community who are here present today. Lord, we know we're coming into a new year, and Lord, we know what that means. We know, Lord, that this gives us another chance to face challenges boldly and courageously and in our spirit. God, we know that there will be opportunities presented in those challenges. And Lord, we just ask your blessing on those who would be put into the decision-making mode and that they would just be guided by you in all that they say and in all that they do. Lord, we ask a special blessing tonight on those who are leading us, the mayor, councilmen, staff and supports, and all the other staffs that are part of the infrastructure here in Dry Ridge. And we ask that we also have the presence of mind to serve in a way that is coordinated and cooperative with those surrounding us at the same time. Lord, we see in our nation's government, we see so many things that are so displeasing. God, we ask that we take the opportunity to speak and act with civility and with peace in mind. And God, that means your peace. So that's what we ask for this coming year. God, give us your peace. And I pray now in Jesus' name. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I want to welcome you down tonight. This is constitutes a special meeting because of the holidays yesterday. So could I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Kenny Anderson?
Here.
Ms. Christy Hewitt? Mr. Clay Harper?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Ron Maddox?
Here.
I will note Ms. Sarah Timmons and Mr. Jim Kennedy absent this evening.
All right, Jim had a conflict with work tonight. Tuesdays sometimes odd for him because he works his second job on Tuesday nights, so we had these special meetings on that. And I just got a message from Sarah where she has flu. So, all right, and that constitutes a quorum. You have the agenda before you. Entertain a motion to accept it because it is a special meeting. You can't add anything, so entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Kenny, second by Griswold. All in favor? All right, motion carries. Because again, it's a special meeting. The special meetings really speed the process up. There's no approval of minutes to the next regular meeting. And we're also going to skip over the reports just because it's basically the second day of the year. The department heads haven't had time to get the reports together, so we'll move those off to the second meeting. All right. With that being said, item number 1 in old business is EMS cost share update. I know I've had this on the agenda several times for the last couple meetings, but it's a continuing process. The fiscal court, they called for and had a special caucus meeting on December 28th. And I know there were some of the council were at the meeting. Chief Smith, I'll kind of let you, if you could, just update us a little bit. The judge made it kind of personal, so I think I'll just kind of step back out of it.
AMR gave a proposal to the county after talking with AMR and the judge and a lot of players involved. the main thing is everybody's talking. Meaning that, they want some more information from AMR, because some information that AMR given wasn't exactly what they wanted. So, everybody's coming up with the numbers and coming up with the figures and that kind of stuff. So I think now is a good time, because everybody's sitting and chit-chatting and discussing budgets and that kind of stuff for what's coming up this next year. So, we'll see what happens there. So, I'm looking forward to, whatever happens. I mean, I think it's going to be good for the county, whatever happens.
What number did they come up with?
Their number was 450-some thousand for the first year. Was their first initial number. It
Is that
didn't.
for the whole county?
It didn't include the whole county. With parts of it excluded. I'm not sure exactly what, because this one wants in, that one doesn't want in, and different things. So that was the original number, was 450-something, with I think a 6 or 8% increase each year after that.
How much?
5. Not bad, 5% increase. And they would staff more ambulances in the county than what they do now. Currently staff them here, so helps out with the extra volume that we've been getting for
Did they
life.
say how many?
2 24-hour ALS units and 1 BLS unit, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, to catch with overruns, that kind of stuff.
Like the chief said, the important thing is at least we're talking. For the first time in 17 years, there's at least some discussion about what it is, and I think that was what the original intent of this council was to get people to the table. Now, who gets what is left to be decided, but everyone undoubtedly is supportive of the fact that the taxpayers of Dry Ridge shouldn't be fitting the bill for the service outside the city. Nobody disputes that whatsoever. And I'll leave it at that. But
So when are they gonna make a decision? The fiscal year is halfway through, so we're already gonna be looking at budgets.
I've sent messages by text to the magistrates, which have gone unanswered. They're not returning phone calls either, so I can't get an answer. I tried to that day to find out what was scheduled. They have a meeting tonight, but there's nothing on the agenda to talk about EMS.
I talked with Greg, which is AMR's go-to guy for our area, and me and him was discussing it. They don't have anything, all the new numbers and stuff that the physical court's asking for. They don't have any of that together yet. Matter of fact, his exact words was, they asked for a list of things, but we don't even have their list yet, so we can even figure that in. So, because I'm not sure when we're going to get that, we'll probably get that in the next 3 or 4 weeks. But then we can start planning on figuring additionals or whatever they need to put in and what they was wanting. And he don't know what they are, to be truthful with you. Nor do I. So.
Yeah, there were several questions that came up from the magistrates asked the questions, some of the mayors and the other cities asked the questions that I don't think AMR was prepared to answer that night. I don't know if they realized that meeting was going to be what it actually turned out to be. So, with that being said, the status is still up in the air, but like I said, it's at least on the table.
Are you going with the original plan?
The original plan wasn't necessarily a plan, and that's what I tried to reiterate over and over and over, it was just the first pitch, basically, and it was really just a breakdown of how much money we spend on it and what it would take just to equalize that cost. There have been multiple times that people have come back and said, what does this look like? How would it work if we did it this way? And then we've modified that plan. There's probably at least 4 or 5 different versions of the plan, depending on who's asked for, a modification a certain way. Fiscal courts asked for several things. Unionstown asked for a modification to the plan. Like I said, there's several different versions of it out there. So to say that I'm steadfast with the original plan is kind of an understatement, because there never really was an official plan. It was kind of throwing something out there and saying, okay, let's work from there. I mean, let's negotiate it. But to go on with to continue on the way that it was running with the taxpayers of Dry Ridge funding a service that was being used 70% of the time out of the city wasn't going to continue to work. And like I said, at least we're still at the table, so farther than we've ever been. Is there anything in particular, you guys? I try to let you know if there's any of these meetings going on. I know this particular meeting is right in the middle of the day, so you couldn't attend. And
Why did they change it?
So everybody can be there.
I was able to do Any other questions on that? I'm gonna keep this on here just to keep it up, so I'm keeping you guys in the loop. I'm trying to do that. So, if there's no other questions. I'll go ahead and bring up ordinance 842, 2017. This is item 2 on old business. 842, 2017 is an ordinance of the City of Dry Ridge, Grant County, Kentucky, fixing and establishing the dates, time, place for the city's regular business meetings required by KRS 83A130, and repealing City of Dry Ridge ordinances 783, 701, 689, 603, 275, 176, and 109 with their respective years. I know it's not typical that we do that when we have an ordinance where we repeal so many different ordinances back. But after doing some research with the proper way to amend an ordinance, basically what you do is you amend the ordinance and then you repeal the old ordinance. Some of these, setting the date and the time has changed throughout the years. There's been multiple times that has actually been set by ordinance. And a lot of those weren't properly repealed. So the city attorney, we felt that it's probably best just to try and catch that all up, just to clean all of those things up. It really doesn't mean anything, because really the only one we're repealing is the 783 2014 one. But these are the changes that we talked about. Article 1 is just the repeal of those former ordinances and the dates. That was another thing. That's the reason why a lot of them weren't properly done is they have to include the date that they were passed. It is part of the statute on that. So that article was added. And then Article 2 is really the meat, which is just setting the calendar date, or setting the meetings to the first and third Monday of each calendar month, 6 o'clock, at the Dry Ridge City Building. And then Article 3 is the conflicting holiday dates. That was the reason we originally talked about making this change, was if a regular business meeting, as defined in Section 1, occurs on an authorized city holiday, the regular business meeting shall move to the next business day following the holiday at the same time and location as the regular meeting. As we did a complete repeal. I know there's probably more than you wanted to know, but that was how we got there. I just want to make sure we're perfectly clear. Any motion? All right, motion by Councilor Maddox, is there a second? Second by Councilor Crumpler. Any discussion? If not, can I have a roll call?
Ron?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Kenny? Clarissa? Yes.
All right. Ordinance 842, 2017 passes. All right. Moving on to new business. Councilman Maddox and Councilman Edmondson have been working on this. Actually, Kenny's been working on this for years, and we're going back and doing some research. So I'll turn the floor over to them.
Don't turn it over to me, 'cause I don't know what's going on.
I've been trying, I went, first things first, thank Councilman Edison for doing all the groundwork on the signage. We've been talking about this for a few months now. When he was off of his shoulder, he got some renderings of some signs that we were talking about for the city. When Kenny went back to work, Brent and I helped out, was going to help out with it and help him out with it, and have done a few things. Mayor, if you can pull up sign B12. This is basically a rendering of what the sign would look like. This is the one that would go at Ferguson and Broadway. The sizes are a little different than before. This one's almost 24 feet tall. The digital sign on this would be a 5x10 sign. I don't have the sign that would go at Fashion Ridge and Broadway is a little smaller. I don't have the exact size on it right now. The difference in the size was that the original sign was a 2 foot tall digital sign. For where it's going to be, for where we were talking about putting it, it was going to be a little small in size. I know the original proposal was for 5 signs. There's a couple of reasons we've thought about pulling this back to 2 signs to start out with, and basically it's about financing. It's about the finances of the project. And the other thing about this, if we do this right, this project can be self-supporting, and that's basically what we're looking at. Watchfire came down and they brought a truck down so we could see what the digital sign could look like. And this is the truck they brought. We put it out by the new road down on Ferguson. The sign that you're seeing there is a 3x4 or 3x5 sign. And it's a 19 millimeter pixel. You can see it's a little grainy. We asked for a estimate on a 10 millimeter, which, if compared to this, would be it would look like a TV screen, basically. It would give us excellent view, and the actual thought of it would be that we could do about whatever we wanted. It's not going to be a sign that we're going to be worried about. This is going to be something that we're going to be able to be proud of and show off the city. The area where the one for Ferguson is going to go is going to need to be filled in between Jim Simpson's lot and Ferguson. This is a rendering of it. Basically, we're going to gain about 60-some feet from the corner back to where it starts to bench. I'm sorry. That's all right. The sign we're figuring to be about 40 feet back. You'll be able to see the sign from Ferguson Boulevard from right about the time you turn at Murphy's. You'll be able to see the sign from Broadway from before you would see before KFC. And then you're going to see it on the bypass probably from about the north side.
I'm just going to make sure we understand what we're talking about here. This is for 2nd Street. This is Ferguson. This will be the intersection where the stoplight is Ferguson. This right now is that it's just trees, the overgrown brush, and the guardrail. It's going down Ferguson. This would serve 2 purposes. That's a really focal point when you come into the city. And right now, you see just a lot of overgrowth that you can't really control because of the pitch of the ground, which if you see some of these contour lines, faster you see these lines together, it means the steep what's going down. So you can see that that's a pretty steep embankment there. So what we're actually talking about putting the sign is, this is the right-of-way, this is our right-of-way there on Ferguson. This is where that lot is of Mr. Simpson, and then this is where his current building is. So this is where that little turnout is off of 25. So what this grading plan here is,
No, go ahead.
take one for you, but what this is actually representing is filling in this section and bringing that section up to road level or sidewalk level, actually just a little bit above so that it would have runoff. And then leveling that whole sidewalk. It would change the entire appearance of coming into the city at that point, and into that major intersection. I know they're working on a rendering of what that will actually look like, conceptual rendering. That's not available for this meeting, but we should have that by the next meeting of what this would actually look like as you come back from. But what this is actually doing is bringing this grade level up. We have had discussions with Mr. Simpson about this. He's very supportive of it because it obviously positively affects his property as well. So I don't mean to be standing there on his way. I just wanted to make sure we were clear on where it's going to talk about that.
We discussed before on leaving some of them big trees in, is that still?
It's not possible because they're all the way down. You'd have to bring the dirt up around them so much they'd kill them. We had a geotech in to look at it just to give us an idea, and said those wouldn't be solid either.
Okay, so then what's the cost now of filling this in?
That'll depend. Worst case scenario was about $75,000.
For dirt?
Well, $35,000 dirt. And there's a breakdown of it right here. This is where Logan said the variable there is the dirt price. If we can find somebody who's getting rid of surplus dirt, it won't cost us much. If we have to pay for it all to come in, it's about $35,000. That's the leeway. This is worst case scenario on the grade.
Like I said, this is a worst case scenario proposal because this is assuming that we have to purchase all of the dirt at roughly $10 a cubic yard, which is anywhere between 8 to 12, Moses says, unless you find somebody getting rid of it. Timing is everything. There is a project that's getting ready to start on 36 that they're going to be getting rid of a lot of debris. But timing is one of these things. You put something like this out, and then it depends on what project you're on, is whether or not you can get that. But that's the main variable there. The rest of the costs are pretty minimal. But like I said, the big cost is just that.
The two signs are going to cost approximately $136,000. Knowing that, and this is going to be the big thing. We know that that's a huge expense, all right? But when we were sitting trying to figure this out, and Brent will tell you, we were up here one day and started just kind of going over things, and there's availability to sell time to businesses or other places on that sign. Keeping us, and we figured if we kept 20% of the sign for our business, whatever the city may want to put on it, at least about 80% of the time. The number that we came up with was a little high, I thought, or we were either wrong or we were pretty high. So Mary Wells helped us out and called Robin Webster. She's in the audience tonight. She's with R&B agency. R&B looked at it, and our numbers weren't that far off. So if you can go on, this is the
You want Robin to?
yeah. Robin, if you can go over your slide for me?
Sure. Look it up there. So pretty much just kind of in a nutshell, they had approached me and said, hey, we want to do that. And this is out of our wheelhouse. Is it even, can we even monetize it? How can we do it to make it self-sustaining? And honestly speaking, I was excited at first because I started my business here. I've been in advertising for almost 30 years, but I just opened this up, the purple sign next door, a couple years ago here. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there's no signage. There's one billboard in the county that's sellable. It's that one with Fort Bank where they have a big fort there for a long time, and it's on. And then I think Time Auto Sales is on the opposite side of it. I don't know if you guys ever noticed it or not. It is the only billboard that we have in the county, and it is booked through 2019. So I have people that are calling me saying, "Hey, if you have any signage, let us know." And there's just nothing available. There is nothing. So when they first called me, I was trying to visualize it because I was thinking if it's a smaller version where it's pixelated and it's not looking very good, I don't know how much, I really don't know if we could sell it or not. But when I actually got to go see what it's going to look like, it's really nice. And quite frankly, it's probably, I'm confident that it's going to be, I mean, obviously local businesses we want to target, but I mean the art, Walton, Richwood, it's going to be appealing to other locations because of the size of it, the way they're going to lay it out, which I really think is important, because I live in Dry Ridge too. So I mean, I think it's important to share more, even though you don't have a rendering. I mean, it's going to be a nice space. They were telling me we're going to have, it's going to be the digital sign. They're going to have the tenant spaces most likely on the bottom for the places that are behind Walmart, so people know, what businesses are going to be back there. But I mean, they're going to lay this out to where it's going to have a bench, the benches. It's going to be like, it's going to be a nice area where people can actually go, and it's not just going to be a sign.
It'll be a green
city.
space.
Yeah, a green space. So they came to me and said, "Hey, can you just kind of give us some estimations and numbers?" Now, I will say as a precursor, if I say that I can guarantee sales of this right now, I'm not going to do that because that would be lying. There is no guarantee. I'll know more when I can roll my sleeves up and start actually physically contacting businesses with the visual of this. But I know the art. I know Beam. I know Dunkin' Donuts. I know people that have reached out to me wanting some type of signage. So it is a real smart long-term project that has more of an appeal than just local. So obviously giving it local businesses the opportunity. And see, not even just, this also is exciting. This also can be seasonal things. So if somebody wants to just put something up for a month or whatnot, if they have an event that's coming in, it could be churches, it could be with the political season that we have coming in now. I mean, the political advertisements. So there's really just a lot to be done with it. So what I did is I just did some rough estimations and did a little preliminary research, but I told them they really weren't that far off their numbers. So what you have to really do, realistically speaking, is break this down, exactly how much is it going to cost these businesses, and what kind of interest are we going to get from a long-term standpoint. Normally with billboards, they will normally book anywhere between, they won't do anything less than 30 days. You have to at least book a month at a time. Most people will book longer. Again, this is the billboard, the one billboard that we have here. Fort Bank, I think, is booked through 2019, and then Time Autos is booked through mid-2018. So a lot of times you're finding people booking for longer than that. So I know I'm kind of going all over the place with that, but he said you don't have to panic, you can come and answer questions, so I'm just kind of just giving you an idea of my back history, kind of how I came into the project. So realistically speaking, from a long-term standpoint, this definitely can be self-sustaining. It could pay for itself, and it could bring money into the city. How long that's going to take, I mean, if we did it based on some of the rates that I was thinking, within a year's period, possibly. Now that was when we were first talking about the original price was $100,000, I think, but you had decided to have.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Can you go to the last slide, Mayor? A lot of this goes to how many people that the customer would see. The advertisements would be 6 to 8 seconds. We're looking at 7.5 seconds per advertisement. I have personally figured it out. Coming from the interstate of Broadway, you're going to see about 3 to 4 of these every time you go through the line. basically. If
And that's
you-
normal, I'm sorry, and that's normal too. It doesn't seem like it's very long, but that is very normal. That's what most digital is. Because you have people sitting there, they're not gonna be there much longer. So you don't want it any more than anywhere between 7 and 8 seconds.
And the state of Kentucky estimates that there's about 7,350 cars that pass by that intersection every day. So, you know, that tells the customer about how many exposures they're going to get, or how much they're going to get. And this is both for Fashion Ridge, and Fashion Ridge is about 6,000, just a little less. The deals that what we're looking at is basically we're basing it on a $500 per month rate. There's an availability of 240 ads per day. That works out to $96,000 over 6 months.
And obviously not all businesses are gonna pay $500 a month. I mean, those are, what we're looking at realistically again is your larger groups that are gonna wanna take more of the available space that are gonna end up paying more. So,
And this is 20%, basically. It's 32 slots, yeah. Basically, for 30, if we sell 20% of the site, which is about 32 slots. Well, that's, there's 200 and some slots. But what we're saying is that 32, if we sell out 32 confirmed long-term slots, it'll be $96,000 over 6 months. Now, we can, and you can add that up. It's that's close to $200,000 a year. Okay. The thing is, we know about how much it's going to cost us. If we could get this out to bid and worked on, really and truly, we could possibly start seeing revenue by May 1. Now, the biggest thing is that this will be a self-supportive thing. It will no longer, this will not be after the initial, we would end up having to borrow the money from the general fund. But then pay general fund back out of the revenue from the signs, plus 4%, just like you would a loan. So we're basically paying ourselves back. At that point, no taxpayer money goes into this.
So how much are you planning, the total cost for this?
The initial hit would be somewhere in the neighborhood of, I would say, no more than $240,000. That gives us plenty of room. It could be a lot less than that, but what we're looking at is we don't want to go in saying, oh, we want this, and then have to go over. That'll be more than enough as a basis of it. And then take 24 months to pay it back, pay ourselves back, plus interest, and then not have one taxpayer dollar.
But like she said earlier, you don't know who your buyers are. You don't know. Is there any way?
well, what I'd recommend is, how about letting me, and I'll just do this, let me do a little preliminary legwork and just actually contact some people and say, okay, this is what we have, and try to pre-sell it before, so you have go in having an idea. Because honestly, I'll speak very candidly. I think it's a great idea. I really do. I think from an advertising standpoint, there's absolutely no way anybody can guarantee that's going to get sold back quickly. There are so many different external things that can happen. We just don't know that. That's just how advertising is.
This is a possibility.
This is this is definitely going to be, this is going to be a long term. If you can look 5 years down the road with this, I think there's going to have some tremendous appeal again outside of this area. But I was telling them too, it's a catch-22 being new. Great, it's new, it's something that people can say, oh, we have this opportunity, but oh yeah, we don't have a track record either. So it's gonna be kind of, again, a catch-22 with it being new. But it's got tremendous potential. it's not gonna take us off in 6 months. It's
No.
not, you know, it's, and again, when we first talked about it, I think the prices were, you were going a little bit smaller with the signs.
Well, and this is the other, this is why, this is not a, you know, go at it quick and get everything back. So that's why I'm saying we should take 24 months to repay. That gives us time to get our basis down and work it through. It should, and again, we're looking at long term. This is not tomorrow. And I think this is the one thing that we have to look at is not that, this is not the return that we're looking at to go on May 1st, have the whole thing paid for and coming in with, you know, whatever. You know, we're looking at, you know, hopefully on May 1st, we could have an initial 30 customers to buy long term. That would be great. That would be ideal. And then from there on, we can work our way out. Nobody can say that's exactly what's going to happen. But if we're setting it, we've talked about this a couple of times since I've been here. You know, if this is something that we're interested in, we probably need to get our bids out so we can get these things, so we can actually get it going if we decide to do it.
So, look, I'm just going to talk about. So what are you suggesting at this point?
At this
what do
point,
you want the council?
I would love for the council to say, you know, let's put this out to bid, both the grading, the signs, and the green space. So we have hard numbers. That way we can that way we can come back with the bids and then say, yes, this is the one we want. No, this is not the one we want. And this opens up for Robin the ability at that point to start her sales. She can do preliminaries right now, and that's all fine and good, but until you have something in writing that says this is going up, as a business person, I'm not going to commit to nothing. But when you tell me it's going up, that's when we can start the whole the hit.
But me as a business person, I can't say let's okay $240,000 if we know we're not going to have a tenant to go on that board. That's what
I agree, but again.
But I like
if you're
Robin's
looking
idea of saying, let me go out and do a little bit of work to see, do we have enough? Because I don't want to fight the big bullet here, and then we got a nice pretty board up there that nobody's on there.
That's up to you. I mean, I'm here. This is the thing. You started this out.
I know, and I just didn't go in all the way through it because I had to go back to work.
Sure.
This is my concern is what Robin said, and I'm going to state my concern. If we don't have slots to fill that sign, I don't need a $240,000 sign sitting up there.
Well, now, the 240, that's for both locations.
Yes.
Right? That's
It's both locations. And all
But
of
there's
them.
going to be more, to me, there's going to be more advertisement on Fashion Ridge, I would think. Because right now, you don't have anything back Ferguson yet, except for Pilot Chevrolet.
That's
And
right.
2 motels that supposedly are going to start building.
You got more, for the tenant spots, you don't have a whole lot that's going to go on the Ferguson right now.
Right.
I mean, you've got maybe 3 that you're going to sell out right quick. Where your benefit, the way that I've seen this, is where your benefit is going to be on taking the opportunity to use this sign project to enhance the entry point into the city. That's where a lot of folks that are coming, especially when those hotels do get built, that's where a lot of traffic is going to be coming that way. The other place is they're going to be going Fashion Ridge, and I agree with you. There's probably going to be more potential for sales on the Fashion Ridge. Because I forget how many panels there are on the Fashion Ridge side, but there's way more businesses than there are panels.
Right.
Which is it's gonna force them to flip over to the digital signage to advertise.
I'm all for the sign. I don't want to sound like I'm being a jerk because.
No, by all means, this is why we're here.
And honestly, I'm sorry, Chris, I would rather, because I don't want to get up here and tell anybody that I'm going to be able to do something and not be able to live
Right,
there.
sure.
Because I live here, and y'all know, so I want to be realistic and I want to be honest, because again, I'm a resident of Ridge as well. That's why I said do some preliminary sales and we can get a good idea. And sit down with ARC, sit down with a couple of larger companies too to see how much is this inventory that we can actually sell to them. You know what I'm saying? And I think too, being able to bulk sell, if you have two signs, give them a deal, you buy both, but you pay more. So, you know what I'm
Is
saying?
it hard to sell something when they haven't seen it?
They have to, that's what I told them, we have to have a visual.
This is where the rendering comes in, and this is the thing. I'm not asking. I wouldn't say yes to it today. I'm saying we need to get the bids out. We need to get this bid out. We need to get this all bid out so that we have the hard numbers.
I want to see on black and white what Robin is saying.
Yeah.
Just, if you bring in so many businesses, this is how much money. I don't care how we get from here to here, I really don't give a crap. I want to know what that bottom number is.
Well, and
I
that's
want to know what
you
my income is.
And this is where the initial slot is at 20%. We're looking at about 90,000 every 6 months.
I mean, that's fine and dandy as long as Robin does a little bit of legwork for us, and if you show me in black and white that this is what this tenant is going to pay, and for 6 months, this is what you're going to bring in for this one, and this is what you're going to bring in for this one, and then your net income that you're bringing in is this.
That's why I said I would feel comfortable with something like this, to be able to do some pre-sales. And I mean, I would do it just to get what the response is. Again, because that is a sizable commitment to go into, and something that's
Yeah, I think the presentation on that corner would be outstanding. On that corner.
Well, I think it'll be the signature of the city.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it's prudent at this time. I mean, we can have this discussion online if you guys want, but I think it's prudent at this time to have some hard numbers on some good estimates, some thought out perspective on where we at or where we could be out in the income side. But I think at the same time, we really need to know what our numbers, because we're just looking at estimates based on engineer estimates at this point. You may put this out to bid, and because we're putting something out to bid the first week of January, there may be hungry contractors
There
out
may
there
be people out there ready to work.
that might be ready to work. And then again, we really don't know what that number is. Logan threw a number out of plus 75,000 because he doesn't really know. There's a lot of variables in this. Putting out a water line project or something, those variables are less because you know how much that stuff costs. You're digging up there, you're not filling and doing all those things. So I think it's prudent to have, I guess what I'm saying is, it's prudent to have Robin do some of that preliminary work on that side, but I think it's also prudent to find out and get some good numbers on what you're talking about on expenses at the same time.
Go back to what Logan sent us.
The design, this, or?
No,
You want the cost.
Is that drainage and all that?
That's everything.
That's everything. That's worst case scenario.
That's the permits, and it's got contingencies in that as well. And that's finishing that whole area. It would mean taking out the tree line. There's $4,000 for the clearing and grubbing. That's removing the trees.
They're not going all the way down Ferguson, are they?
No, it goes, 100 and... You see that, I can't remember.
It's...
Go back to this map. If you're looking down Ferguson, right here is about where the gravel. Remember how that had a slip about 10 years ago, and they put the gravel in there, that riprap. This is right here where that riprap is right here. So what you're talking about doing is benching this out level down to about, starting to tear it back about where that gravel is. So that's the area that you're talking about squaring up. And then drawing a straight line across. So the widest point would be right there where that inlet is, and over, and then terracing it down and stepping it off. He said this would be terraced at a mobile percentage. So this would be a mobile slope. But you could make it less steep if you wanted. You just have to come out with more fill. And then this is also taking in, there is a culvert head up here where it comes in from the box drains on the two streets. It just empties out into riprap now. That's extending this pipe on down to get it past that fill. And then the permit for the state to do that. So that's all figured into that price. The architect hasn't had enough time, because of the holidays, they just weren't able to have the renderings done. Like I said, we should have the renderings back. They told me it shouldn't be any problem having back by 15th. At least the initial renderings to see what that site would look like. But I'm really envisioning this something like the city of Florence. When you turn onto Wall Road, where it's that nice, like funnel area. That's kind of what I'm really picturing. Kenny kind of nailed it earlier in the way he described it.
When do you think we have, you would have those numbers ready?
I just need to get a visual. You hit it on the head. So, if you're talking about, I can give rough estimations, and I did with them, but I would really feel more comfortable being able to just start contacting people and saying, hey, this is an opportunity. What do you think? With that, I really need a visual, like you said before. So if maybe, and I think you said the rendering would be done by the 15th.
Right.
So I can sit down with somebody and say, okay, this is what we're looking at. This is what it's going to look like. Because again, it's really hard to tell unless you've seen it. I was really pleasantly surprised when I went and got to see that picture they showed was horrible. I mean, it was so much. The quality was not near what a 10 is going to be.
Right.
So it's really hard to tell.
You know the Florence Freedom sign? This is the same company that does that sign. That sign is a 16.
That is a 16.
So it would be twice the pixel density. For those of you who don't know what pixel density means, pixel density is the number of squares that represents an image. The more pixels you have, the cleaner the image actually looks. I don't know if that makes any sense to you how pixel density works. But 10, don't look at PPI. That's something totally different up there. But 10 just means there's more of those little dots than there is. There's more of the dots than there is.
They're smaller, so you can fit more into one vote in a square.
It's like looking at a high definition picture versus.
So what's the upkeep on the sign? If there's something should go wrong with it, or
Greg, can you read the warranty?
It depends on what. I was going to say it varies because we talked about them having a maintenance plan. But is it one of the LED screens? Because it's a 1 foot by 1 foot square, what that's made of. If one of those go bad, they actually have a spare for ours that's made at the same time ours is at their office, at their shop, so they can replace it within a day.
And that's the thing. If something, it won't be like the whole screen goes out. It'll be if one section goes bad, you replace that one section. You don't have to replace the 5 to 10 screen.
The way I understand it, these are actually designed for this purpose. So when they build these things, they're in an enclosure. They have heating and cooling inside the cabinets. They're all sealed from the outside. They do periodic maintenance on them, but you program them via the internet, network.
To a computer.
Yeah, so you don't have to go on site with them. You just program from wherever. What we would, what I would like to see the city not be in the business of programming the sign and doing that is to hiring that function of this project out to an advertising agency like RMD to actually do that part. Where the city wouldn't have to spend time and allocate resources to do that. It would just kind of work into the advertising as far as selling the package and being maintained the package. I hope I'm not.
Okay, is there anything else that we need to be left out, we should be concerned about or be aware of?
As far as the advertising part of it, I mean, the advertising just varies depending on the season. Seasonal, sometimes it's more economy affects it as well. It's I don't know of anything else that I can share with you to take into consideration. Again, that's why I said I would really feel more comfortable to be able to hit the pavement and just get some preliminary. And honestly, if you go to a business and say, hey, this is an opportunity that we've not had, get them to kind of tentatively sign ahead of time. We might even, Brennan mentioned, which is actually a great idea, even talking with the chamber and saying, hey, we might be able to give a discount for chamber members to get some early interest, that kind of thing. There's different things that we can do to try to entice, but I think some preliminary sales with no commitment at this point is really smart, so we can give an idea of how, and I, absolutely, and sitting down with, again, I don't want to continue state the art, but I mean, their pockets, I mean, they'd be able to take a considerable amount of inventory and be able to do it long term, but also do it for seasonal things like the Christmas and all the different things that they've got going on. So, and I can start doing that. I said I could just do it. Obviously, it's something costing thing. I just want to do it and kind of get an idea of what we're looking at from a sales standpoint. So,
Thank you.
What do you charge for each one of these advertisements?
well, it depends. I mean, normally with billboards, you would pay a flat monthly fee. And it would really vary depending upon how much that they buy. And what's a little bit different with like your static, your plain billboards, just like your poster billboards, you pay the fee and you're just there, and you might buy for 30 days, you might buy for 60 days. With these, they're almost like ads. So you might have, say, 7.5 seconds and you rotate. And so another thing that I told them too, I said, if this ends up working out and you do it, I'm also very cognizant of the businesses, because I'm a business, and I don't want somebody to sell me something that's not going to get a response. And so what I think would be the best way to do this would do it in blocks. So say, for instance, you'll have a 4-hour block. If somebody buys a certain number of ads, all of those ads will be condensed and placed within, say, a 4-hour block to give it a better opportunity to get more response versus having somebody have an ad that's going to be at 5 in the morning and another one until 7 o'clock. You see what I'm saying? So I want to be strategic and smart because, again, I'm local and people can knock on my door and say, hey, I'm not getting it. So, does that answer your question at all?
No, I want to know, what's it going to cost?
What's it going to cost?
To advertise on this.
He's wanting to know, like, how many seconds, if I buy,
Do you have to
I don't
buy
know
so
that.
many blocks, or what do you do?
Well, one thing that we could do is just say, okay, for $250 a month, you get this. Or for $500 a month, you get this many ads. So it could be a flat monthly fee. And you get, I mean, that's normally how billboards work, is you pay a monthly fee, and then you get a certain number of ads. If somebody does it seasonally, I mean, you can say, I mean, with this, you can't do it like radio spots. I guess I can't give you a really good answer because I don't know. I have no idea. I need to get more information myself to be able to sell this.
We were kind of looking at it, and this is just throwing it out, was about $10 a day per slot.
Breaking it down and ends up averaging that, yeah.
So that gives you an idea of how much, but you would sell it about a month. So you're probably looking at somewhere between $300 and $500 for a month. And that would give you 200, for one slot would give you 240 views a day.
and how many, what's 20%?
32 slots.
So for $10 a day, you can put Happy Birthday Mary in there.
And this is the other thing. We're going to have to make a decision on what we would allow and what we won't. That's when if we decide we're going to do this, that's when we have to sit down and start and do that as a
Well, when she was talking, when Robert was talking about North, I'm thinking about the city of Williamstown when they do their Williamstown Winter Fest, and this might be a way for us to get some of our money back.
Yeah, it's certainly an opportunity for other cities or local.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
It would be good advertisement for churches trying to get word out about a project. There may be even some things where, but the city will retain a block of those advertising spots to be able to do with what we see fit. I mean, obviously we put things like the date and time or events that we have coming up or messages that we want to get out. But we could also give a section of those out for charitable reasons, give them out to Hope, or give it out to, churches or whatever, if something comes up. So we do have some flexibility in there too. So it's not, you have to pay money to get your spot on there. We would have some flexibility to do some charity stuff as well.
And it won't be an across the board. That's why I was having a hard time answering. It won't be across the board for this amount of money. Everybody is going to be able to get this amount of ads. It's because you might have somebody that just wants it seasonally. So they say, I only want it for the month of December. Well, if we have somebody that says, hey, we want to buy this for an entire year, or we want to buy it for 2 years, you're going to give them a little bit of a discount because you want that long-term contract, because you want to know that you have that monthly residual coming in. So that's kind of why I was having a hard time answering. But I'm glad Ron was able to answer a little bit better.
I'm gonna ask one question, and if you already answered this, I apologize, I missed it, but have you dealt with these signs before?
Digital, yes. I've not programmed digital signs before, but yes, we buy digital signs. I have been buying digital signs for quite some time.
Are they, and this in particular one, have you dealt with it?
Well, I've not dealt with this company,
When
but
you say buy digital signs, you mean for your
clients.
customers,
Yeah.
for your clients. So
Yeah.
if you're not buying physical signs, you're buying space on the sign.
Right, I'm sorry, the space on the signs, correct, yes.
Okay, you buy the space on the sign.
Right, yes.
But didn't you telling me that, she would take care of all the ads?
Well, this is the thing that we would work together. That would be what we're hoping for, is that R&B would be able to take care of whatever we need to do.
I don't mean to hash up your question, but I guess maybe what Carissa was asking is, in the past, through your work with the agency, have you bought these signs for your other clients, bought airtime on these signs, or?
Yes, space on, yes, I have. We haven't actually bought the signs, but yes, we've bought space on digital signs.
Okay.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, basically if you have any experience, I'm just wondering how it sells. Are people excited about it, do they not care, or, I guess I sort of want your, how you foresee this is gonna happen, what you predict.
Well, in digital, it's kind of skewing towards digital, but it's different because, you get high artery spaces, which we buy a lot of digital, like on expressways and things like that, is obviously completely different than what this is. And this has a different sales value, because it's local, because of supply and demand, as far as there's absolutely no other signage of any. Again, that one billboard, and believe it or not, I have people that have called me. We had Worthington Insurance up there for a brief period of time, and I had so many calls off of that from people saying, if that ever comes available again, please let us know, because we would really like to be on that. The sport's been on there forever, and again, it's booked through 2019 on one side, mid-2018 on the other, so.
And I would think that's a less traveled road.
Yeah,
road.
exactly.
Yeah.
Is it one of these signs where we go look at it like this?
Florence Street.
Florence Freedom. Have you ever been by the Florence Freedom Stadium?
I've been by down 75.
Okay, that big digital sign is not, the resolution is less on that sign than what we're looking at. That's basically what we're talking
Smaller.
But
It's not gonna be that big.
But if you got 20 names there on the sign, you have to stop to read them, ain't you? You can't go by and see them.
7 seconds.
with our text messages and all
We want
that.
7.5 seconds.
about. The digital.
That means Bachman ain't gonna be up there very long, I ain't gonna get to see his name.
No problem,
He ain't gonna get very
Well,
long.
when you stopped at the red light, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody ain't gonna stop that.
Well, you'll get caught with that red light.
Text messages.
And that's why, if you do it in the block, for those people who are coming through here, they're
Sound like a plan.
they're gonna see Drag Auto Parts on that sign. So, it's at a certain point, because you can almost guarantee that, I almost guarantee that you can see it more than once, as many times as you're at, where you go to Japan.
Well, most of your local people already know where the businesses are,
But,
so they ain't gonna be looking for it.
but this is the thing, though. We're not talking about, this is the biggest portion of it, is that we're not talking about a lot of the locals looking for the hotels or the restaurants. This is the people that come from out of town who are going to the arts, who are coming here to stay, and who are wondering where they need to go, where they can go to get to someplace.
The big-
That's the
The big thing with this Clay, is what they tried to come up with is a model that sustains itself. The directional signs that the city put in a few years ago with the wooden posts, vinyl rack posts, and the boards that went across it, those were great when they first went up, but there was no source of revenue to keep those maintained over time. And that's what the idea of the project was to find something that was sustainable, that it would generate revenue off of itself in order to keep itself going. And that's what the digital sign does, is it creates the revenue stream, to keep the sign operating, so that at a certain point, there's zero tax dollars that go into operating it whatsoever, and it actually starts to become a revenue generation engine, that feeds money back into a program of some sort.
Go back to your sign and be
The person,
Yeah. Where the rock and the ridge is at, that's gonna be your
That's the
digital
digital
sign. That's
sign.
what's gonna be displayed.
that's the digital sign.
So where the tenant is at, let's say for instance, Pile Chalet.
that'll be a static sign.
Yeah, these are static, they just go up, you buy that space for a year at a time, or
Okay. So they're gonna be buying that space
And
plus
Yes.
anything additional if they wanna run,
Right.
Buck wants to run a
exactly.
oil
Special.
change special or alignment special for a week or
Yeah.
something is.
And if you look at it, what we've thought about was for the tenant signs, that would actually pay for the electric and the upkeep on the vinyl for the signs by itself.
Who's gonna be operating this sign? You have to have an office that people call in, pay the money to, or the
that's,
city?
that's what we want to contract with the agency.
That's what R&B would be for. That's what they do. That's what they do. This got way over my head.
They would do it in their office down there?
And it's right next, we're a few doors down.
And then you do it with remote or something?
Yeah, I can do it with
With computer.
computer. Mhm. And you can do it from anywhere. And so as long as you have internet access, you can do it from anywhere.
That's what I want.
Yeah, it doesn't require us to hire anybody specific just to do this job. It's not extra work on us other than just getting it established and set up. So.
Like I said, it got way over my head real quick, and that's why we call that a professional.
It's an over my head.
Well, I think it's prudent, like I said, to get some numbers on both sides, what our anticipated revenue is and what our costs are going to be. So,
I think we need that before we went further, so we kind of have an
Well,
idea.
that was
Deal
kind of
what
my
we wanna
thing,
do.
that we get in, that we put out for bid, so we can get some hard numbers and then let Robin get her numbers in.
well, what would you say if we,
I think Robin, he gets her number in first.
yeah, what if you say we put an RFP together and put it out and then just hope to have all the numbers back by the first meeting in February? I mean, that's a month to do some legwork on Robin. Is that too long of a time?
No, I think that would be.
I mean, we're probably talking at least another week
Is
before
that
we have the
land
rendering
sign
ready for you.
And then that still gives me
Set the
two
sign, the concrete,
Everything.
because I know we talked
Is that enough
about
time?
breaking it down two ways.
I think it should
We
be.
do the concrete bigger.
I'll know better after I get, if we can get the rendering in
that's
that time frame that they're saying. So,
Basically.
I'm sorry, it's multiple conversations. Sorry, what?
she just asked me if that would be enough time. I said if the renderings come when they're supposed to, I can at least start kind of beating the pavement and do some preliminary. I think that would be-
I can check with them tomorrow and see where they're at on that. See if we can, see if we can get some early renderings of it so we know what we're doing. Yes. But- Okay, so you want her to start working on that, and we'll get the rendering. You want to also put the other stuff out, see what.
I think that would be the best. I mean, that way we can get some hard numbers and know what we're looking at.
Okay. And then, like, set a tentative date for the first meeting in February to start looking at some of this stuff. All right. All right, anything else? Anything else on that? Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right. Hang on a second. Here's got a question.
What was the total elevation on the dirt you was talking about bringing up? Did you mention the elevation on how high the dirt would come up?
One second.
No, 955 top. So I don't know what it is
I-
now.
Let's read it on here. I think it is, I think it's 1 foot at the center, which the center would be right here.
Uh-huh.
It would be the highest point, is 1 foot above the sidewalk, and then it slopes to the sidewalk, so it's at grade of sidewalk here. It's 1 foot higher here, and then it slopes down from there. So maybe right here is the high point. I can't read the elevation numbers on here.
Okay. I thought he threw them out there, I was just curious.
No, the only thing I know for sure is about how deep it's gonna be. The corner, it's gonna be about 60 feet deep.
Okay.
Not deep, but.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. Motion by Clay, second by Chris, all in favor? All right, we are adjourned, thank you. Our next meeting is December 15th.